All right. Thanks everyone for joining today's session with us. Today we are gonna talk about event management from the ITOM, and we'll start. So on this ITOM, we are gonna discuss more specifically on the event management module. Thanks for coming to this webinar. Hope everyone had a great day today, and hope everyone are going to have a great day if people are not from the Indian time zone. Let's start. So today's agenda, I will quickly give an introduction about Kubernetes, what we are and what services that we are providing to the customers. And I'll give a simple overview about myself. And we'll start about the event management, why we are exactly going to talk about the event management and how customers are going to get benefits of event management. What are the features that are involved over here? And the service mapping with the ITOM event management. On this point, we will talk a bit more about how an event management will be configured and connected with the other tools like discovery, and I mean other modules like discovery and service mapping, orchestration, and service management as well. I'll quickly give an overview about how we perform the implementation as a Kubernetes, and a life cycle of an alert or an event, how the event monitoring tools are going to integrate it with the ServiceNow event management, and a couple of slides on AI operations, and then I'll open the floor for Q&A. So this session we have divided into two phases. One, I will talk about theoretical way on individual components of event management, benefits of event management, and how it will be integrated with the third party tools. And then I'll quickly navigate you through the instance and show you the individual components of the event management of the events, alerts, or what we are going to discuss further. So about us, as we are a Kubernetes, we have founded this organization in 2018. We are having a great architects, developers on different technologies of the services that we are providing. We are our core ServiceNow consultation implementation service we are providing, and a couple of big data solutions we are having clients that are having the successful support on. We does provide cloud solutions, Scala application development, and we help customers to have their infrastructure or their workspace digital transformation too. So these are our core services, and today I'm specifically representing Kubernetes on the ServiceNow implementation of the event management for a couple of customers. That what we have done, what we have learned, and what are the success stories that we have gone through so far, and yep, what we gonna implement so far. Me myself working as a solution architect in. Can someone please stop scribbling on the screen, please? Thank you. So me working as a solution architect for IT operations management of ServiceNow on the Kubernetes, and I have a strong experience on all cloud-based technologies like GCP, AWS, and Azure as well. And I'm working for Kubernetes and as a solution architect, and I support implementations for ITOM for our customers and the clients. And I have strong experience on most of the my experience is on the ITOM, and I'm specialized on implementing the SAM and ITSM and integrations too. So what is event management that we are talking about so far, right? So ServiceNow event management actually creates an actionable alerts from the events captured by the third-party monitoring tools. We get events or anomalies from the third-party monitoring tools that will be directly come to the ServiceNow, and we ServiceNow is a strong platform that has been built where we can use the ServiceNow as a single pane of glass that have strong integrations with the service management process, and any other modules that we can talk about, where the derived information that we receive into the service now can be utilized and are reutilized in a different ways so far. So how we are gonna, the ServiceNow event management gonna fit in the actual workspace culture of our infrastructures or of our daily needs. So as I quickly gave a overview about the ServiceNow creates a configurable alerts or events captured by the third-party monitoring tools. These actions or the alerts that is being received can be converted into the incidents, where the incidents can be worked upon with our L1 team or L2 team to go further and resolve, so that we can have a detailed understanding of what our infrastructure is having, or what our infrastructure is facing any anomalies or any issues so far. So if you can see on this slide, I did mention that there are a couple of business services that are up and running, where we can map those business services in the service mapping. And once after they were properly got mapped in the service mapping, they were up and running to be used for the event management. So any event or any issue that is being raised on that particular application, based using that event management, we can understand or estimate what level of uh, uh, issues that we are going to face, whether the complete application is going to down, or how many other components that are getting impacted on that particular application. And based upon that, we can start our outages, and we can create a change request automatically if we build the process backend remediation flows. And our L1 and L2 team can keenly monitor the events with a single pane of dashboards that were available in the ServiceNow itself. So in order to generate a qualified alerts, events are processed through filters that normalize and deduplicate the incoming stream too. So alerts that are then mapped to the configuration item CIs into the based upon the CMDB that has been populated. Again, why I'm talking about CMDBs. The CMDB is the piece of database where it maintains all the configuration items that we are going to receive. So in this time, we are going to pitch in the discovery, where it discovers all the configuration items into the service now. And those configuration on top of those configuration items, actual events will be received. And from these events, we are going to create incidents or the change requests or any problem requests. And that's going to be utilized by our service management team. And our monitoring tools can send us the events, multiple other events, like if the basic examples were using the Nagios or the SolarWinds. Even we can receive the events from there, and we can receive SNMP traps as well, and we can manage and maintain everything in a single place. So I'll quickly explain what was the traditional event flow without the ServiceNow event management. And if we pitch in the event management, how exactly we are going to see the difference out of it. If we could see in the left side pane, I did mention that there is a infrastructure that was running, and there are a lot of monitoring tools that does monitor our infrastructure. So I'm talking about infrastructure that may includes our servers or any cloud-based virtual machines or any cloud-based other resources. If I'm talking specifically about Azure or AWS, there are a lot of services that are running over there, like cloud databases, serverless architectures, and there are Lambda functions. There are virtual machines where we can create our own event monitors there, so that whenever a issue that is being raised, or let's take an example that there was a CPU threshold that is being increased on a particular operating system. So that is going to generate an event, and that event will be actually monitored by the monitoring team, and the monitoring team will raise a event or the request on the ServiceNow ITSM, and from the ServiceNow ITSM, actually L1 and L2 team will be working on it without the event management. So there is a lot of manual process that is been involved on this whole flow, but we actually coming to the event management. Once after the IT process is being rectified that particular issue and bring down the threshold or CPU threshold or memory threshold on that particular server, they're going to close the request and we'll work upon on the other issues. But here multiple teams that were involved, where a monitoring team dedicatedly sit with the monitors, and we need to completely monitor what's happening in our infrastructure, and any anomaly that is being detected or any event that is being raised, they need to manually go ahead and create a request, or they need to send emails or forward those emails to the ServiceNow so that our inbound email actions can take further creation of incidents or any other service management process that we have defined. But what if we pitch in the ServiceNow event management approach? So the similar way, there are a lot of monitoring tools that were running on the different aspects. Let's take an infrastructure is having the solar winds, and there are a couple of Azure monitors itself monitoring the virtual machines for the process. Then there is a event that is being raised. So in this case, since our ServiceNow event management is in place and completely integrated with all of these tools, so this can be directly the events can be directly sent to the ServiceNow, and from there the ServiceNow can raise an incident automatically and assign it to the particular team, where we here in this case we just eliminated the load on the monitoring team, where they needs to keep on waiting for the particular monitors and raise an incident whenever they have got an event. Instead, ServiceNow itself will take care and understand the alert needs to be converted into the incident or not, or alert needs to be still waiting for on the queue, so that event management team can look forward and convert that into the actual ticket or not. So it is the more easier process, where our L1 L2 team have more specific set of events or alerts can be treated to be work upon further, and they can ignore the rest of the warning events or alerts that needs to be taken care, where there is a lot of noise that we have reduced, and we can show the lot of enhancement in our service visibility. And one more good approach over here was we can remediate that particular event without any human intervention. So I'll take the previous example again, where there is a CPU threshold that is being increased on one particular virtual machine on the cloud or on any other data center virtual machine that I can say. Why I'm taking the virtual machine? This will be an easier way to explain, or everyone can understand easily, where it is the useful one on our daily needs. So whenever a CPU threshold is being increased, the CPU threshold event will be sent to the ServiceNow, and that event will be processed based upon the rules that we have created in the backend. Those rules that I'm going to talk about in our further slides, like the individual components that are involved in the event management. And those processed events converted into the alerts. And again, there is a remediation flows that we can create over here on this particular kind of conditioned alerts. We need incidents or not. So the incident is being created, or sometimes we can directly run the remediation flows by keeping the alert in open state. In the remediation flow, we can pitch in our orchestration, and based upon the configuration item that we have received the alert for, so for that particular configuration item, we can run our PowerShell scripts in the backend, or if it is a Linux server, we can run our Python or Perl scripts in the backend to decrease the load of CPU. And if that particular flow is also got failed, then we can actually create an incident. So this much of deep level insights that we can create, and we can ignore a lot of manual intervention on the whole process. What are the benefits that we are getting out of this ServiceNow event management? If we implement the event management, we can have a strong service availability, where we understand the impact even though any alert or event is being raised, and we can estimate what level of process that are getting impacted because of this particular alert. So I'll take one more example here, and continuing our CPU threshold example that was in the previous slide. So let's think that the CPU threshold that has been increased on the virtual machine, and the virtual machine is hosting a particular application. Let's take that is a timesheet application that we are running on that virtual machine, and the timesheet application is no more accessible for our end users. So in this kind of situation, we have to understand the impact, and we need to create the outage as soon as the event is being generated, right? So our first approach, the whole orchestration approach, as I mentioned, it will take around, we have created a POC on this for one of our client, and we have expected the time of resolution of the CPU threshold, even though there is an application up and running, was 1 minute 4 seconds. So this again depends upon individual application or individual infrastructure that I'm talking about, but there is a lot of human intervention that is being missed out, so that we can have our most of our applications that is up and running on the work, instead of we discussing or talking about what exactly the event is being received for. Coming to the another point, if the CPU threshold is being still not got down, we can create a P1 incident. That's the rule that we can create in our remediation flows. Because of this, our actual team will go ahead and decrease the CPU threshold in our virtual machine, or we can make our service available as soon as possible. So this is the service visibility or service availability that we are talking about, and we can have the root cause identified very quickly, and we can reduce the service outages if we are having the right approach of a particular event we received to be taken action on against it. And we can understand the impact of this particular event management using this event management of what level of application services that we are running, or if an individual CI that is having a issues that is being generated in events, then we can easily understand the impact on the dependency views as well. And in our further slides, I'm going to show the service mapping dashboard as well. If the event management and the service mapping is being in place, how can we estimate, or how can we see a particular application service is having an events or not, and what kind of alert that is being received for that particular application service. And a strong feature of this particular event management was it can integrate with the multiple monitoring tools. And the event management is one of the strongest module in the ITOM. I'll just take a quick recap of ITOM. Hope everyone has a bit of idea about event ITOM. Like ITO operations management is in ServiceNow is a suite of applications that work together to automate operations management with your organization. So the ITOM module has the discovery, event management, service mapping, cloud management, orchestration, and operational intelligence that work together to make our infrastructure more reliable and more service available for our clients or for our infrastructure. And other benefits of event management were we are having the built-in out-of-the-box event filters for most of the known monitoring tools that I can call about, like the Nagios, SolarWinds, Zabbix. So these kind of monitoring tools are having the out-of-the-box event rules as well as connectors that is been already defined in the ServiceNow. So if I say what is a connector, so the connector is a kind of integration middleware that we can call as, where we can use this connector configuration. We can configure the connector in such a way that based upon the configuration, we can integrate with our multiple integration tools using the mid server. So these, how to use the connectors, what is the connector definitions on deeper of configuration of the event management, we will talk about in our next session of the event management that we are going to provide. We are planning a couple of more event management sessions on the integration for with the event management as one session, and more dive deeping of the configuration of event management in our further sessions. And the other benefits of event management were we are having inbuilt alert intelligence, where we can create our, we can group our alerts based upon the configuration item. Let's take an example that there is a virtual machine is having the memory utilization event, as well as the CPU threshold event, as well as disk utilization event as well. So if we are having the three different alerts, and if these three different alerts will be creating three different incidents, it will be very hard as to track the service availability, as well as hard to maintain and manage three different incidents separately without in our service management queues. So the alert intelligence in our ServiceNow can perform the automatic alert grouping if we enable the operational intelligence in the event management, or we can create our own correlation rules to group our alerts automatically. So there is an actions that can be taken for the individual alert based upon the conditions, where there is a service that is been running in our systems, and the service was gone down, and that service can be bring to up easily in using that alert and the remediation flow. So that level of actionable alerts that can be taken care automatically in the using the event management. And there are, as I mentioned, there is a couple of out of the box correlation rules, and we can build our own custom rules as well. The modules that were worked together to make our infrastructure well maintained was the discovery, service mapping, and orchestration. We does already talk about a couple of things with the orchestration and service mapping, and I'll take a few minutes to discuss about discovery as well. So as we all aware, or people who are not aware what exactly is a discovery. So discovery is a module that can help us on discovering our configuration items that is available in our infrastructure automatically to the ServiceNow without any human intervention. Or we can perform integrations with other third-party tools like SCCM, so that those CIs like computers can be imported into our ServiceNow CMDB, and they can be managed, or we can create events, or we can create incidents on top of the configuration items that were maintained in the CMDB. So that is once after we have our CMDB CIs populated, we can utilize that information on either the service management or on the event management, or for performing the orchestration as well. So how can we use those CIs information in the orchestration was? I will give another example about a service. So that's thing that there is a service that was running on a Windows server, and that service is called the IIS web server, and that IIS web server gone down. Since our discovery has been already populated with that server information in our Windows server table of our CMDB, we are having the information like the IP address of the virtual machine or IP address of that Windows server, and the services that are running on the Windows server in our ServiceNow CMDB database. So whenever an event is being generated, it creates an alert. That alert triggers the orchestration flow in the backend, and this orchestration flow can go to the CMDBC and understand, okay, for this particular configuration item, what was the IP address? And this IP address will be picked up, and the credentials were already configured in our service now. So those credentials and the IP address will be picked up, and based upon the alert that is being received, I mean the metrics that is falling under, like in this case, it is a service down metric. So for this particular metric, we have already well defined the flow in the orchestration, where it runs a particular PowerShell script via mid server to make that service up and running. If it is still cannot bring it to up, make it up, so it will create an incident so that it will be taken care manually. Coming to the event management components, there are a couple of components that are involved on to achieve the whole process or the configuration that what I'm talking about. So the multiple components were events, event rules, alert rules, and the alert correlation rules, which act together to make a complete flow execution successful. I'll just take 1 minute of to explain what is an event. An event is a notification from one or more monitoring tools that indicates something like an issue that has been occurred. Let's take an example that there is a notification for a CI in our IT system or a cloud about issue that your IT team should be aware of, like failure or a warning or a service got down, which is being generated by our monitoring tools. So as we have already spoke about a lot of examples, mostly on the CPU threshold or the memory utilization, and or there is a service down or up. So those events will be sent to the ServiceNow event table, and ServiceNow receives those events into the EM_event table. And from there, there are event rules that were out of the box available, as well as we can define our own event rules to process them into the alerts. So while we are using our event rules, we can manipulate the information that we received on the event. Like if we are having a lot of short description that we are receiving on the event, which needs to be trimmed down to a particular meaningful manner, we can still apply our regex expression codes on our event rules, and we can convert the events to alerts with specific conditions. Not all the events needs to be converted. Like there is a severity that we does maintain, like there is a warning severity, critical severity, and okay severity or clear severity. We can define our own flows. Let's take an example that we want to create alerts only for the critical events, or we can ignore all our warning events. So we can still do that using the event rules that we can define or customize on our own. And the customization, what I'm talking about, does not require any code level changes over here. This all will fall under the configuration of the event management only. Coming to the once after the event rules that is been done on top of the events, we can have the processing nodes of what event rule that is being run on a particular event, which was got converted into the alert. And from the alert was actually the processed events which will be created under the em underscore alert table. And once after the alert is being generated in the parallel section, we can alert correlation rules will be run. So these rules will be applied on top of those alerts that is being created. And based upon the criteria that we have already defined on the alert correlations rules, it will group together multiple alerts into a single group, where if multiple events that is being received for the same configuration item, it will group together into a one alert group. And we can one of the alert will be nominated as the primary alert, and rest of the alerts that will be grouped together will be added as a secondary alert. So we can perform this using manual action. We can perform this using the alert custom correlation rules that we have created. We can use our out of the box rules, and we can still use our ServiceNow existing functionality, which is an automatic alert grouping. So this automatic alert grouping will happen based upon the information that is received. ServiceNow will read that information, and it will learn, and it will try to predict in our further actions that needs to be taken, or further groups that needs to be created later. So this is one of the feature on the operational intelligence of our event management module that we have implemented this operational intelligence for one of our customer, and we can see a rapid increase of 40% service availability in 6 months span of time, and 25% of decrease in service outages because of this operational intelligence. Once after the alerts is being created and the alert correlation rules has been ran on top of that particular alert, the alert correlation rules group together an alert, and action needs to be taken. If an action taken on the primary alert, it automatically impact the secondary alerts as well. Like an incident is being raised on the primary alert, the same incident number will be shared to all of the secondary alerts. And we can take one action on one incident itself, so that it will have a more visibility of how many issues that is being running on a particular configuration item. And we can run after the correlation rules. These alert management rules will be ran after that, where we can remediate our flows, or we can close the alert, or we can take any other necessary action that is being required. So this is a alert lifecycle that we spoke about. I'll just take a couple of examples of the monitoring tools like Logic Monitor. There is an Acronis monitoring tool, ConnectWise monitoring tool, and the Knowledge Front monitoring tool, which are different monitoring tools that are running in our sources. Those events will be sent to the ServiceNow event table, and event rules will be applied on top of that. And those rules will be converting the events to the alerts. From there, either we can create a alert quick incident manually. There is an out of the box functionality that is been available, where this alert monitoring alerts that has been created. The event management team, there are a lot of roles that is been well defined on the event management, where a event management administrator or event management user can create a quick incident on top of the alert manually. or we can well define our alert management rules and we can create an incident, or we can remediate the flows. And those remediation flows also can be closed the existing incident that is being raised on top of the alert, or it can take necessary action if it is an orchestration involved. So earlier I spoke about the service mapping and the event management. So the service mapping is a kind of next level discovery that will be happen for an individual application instead of a configuration item. So this service mapping will create a dependency of an application service. I will take one more example. So let's take an example that there is a Google.com is a web application that is running, and we all can be access the Google search engine using the Google.com. So what and all things that will be involved in the backend were, this is a web application or a web server. So in the backend, there is a load balancer that will take the requests and navigate into the individual web servers so that it will serve the web application or the homepage of the Google to the end users. So here, one of the first component was the load balancer, and the second component was the web server. And the web server will talk about in the backend databases, and those database information will provide us the information, and that information will be provided through the load balancer to the end user, to our browsers. So there is a DNS servers that are involved over here. So here 4 components that is been we spoke about. One was the web server homepage, HTML homepage, that is being provided as using the load balancer. This load balancer will send or receive requests through the web application or web server. This web server talk with the database in the backend. So these all components work together to provide us the Google homepage. So this is a very high level small application that we spoke about, or that we discussed about. But how can we monitor the individual component? So using the service mapping, if we can define the URL, or if we can provide the endpoint to the ServiceNow. The ServiceNow is having the enough intelligence by running the top-down approach discovery on the application, and it will generate the dependency view automatically, and it will show it to us. So any event that is being raised on top of the database, we can understand what level of impact and how many users that are going to impact will not receive the Google homepage anymore. So this is the level of service availability that we can have if our ITOM were well maintained and managed in our ServiceNow. So if we can see on this image, the green color application services that are related to the servers, that are related to the billing, that are related to the production environment, that are related to the customer relationship management are on the green color. And the red color was the impacted impacted application services. That means we are having some events or alerts that is being raised on top of that. If you can see the example in the down, there are a lot of alerts that is being created, where there is a chassis down and there is a redware application startup one running successfully. It is a major event, and the critical event we have defined was the disk quota is out of space for a particular application service virtual machine. So the red indicates more critical, and the orange indicates the major that needs to be taken care as a priority 2, but the critical ones needs to be taken care as a priority 1 if we wanted to give our services to the end users without any issues. Coming to the A operations. So far we spoke about the components of the event management. How can we integrate our monitoring tools with the event management, and what will happen a particular event that is been received to the ServiceNow, and how it will be converted to the alert or incident. But what is AI operations that is been that we are talking about? So this using this AI operations, we can predict the issues before they occur into the ServiceNow itself. So ServiceNow will learn from the previous or events that we received for a configuration item or an application service, and based upon the combination of metric name and the description and a couple of machine learning techniques that will be applied on top of that to predict the anomalies that we may receive soon. So I'll take one example where there is a discovery that was running on a virtual machine every day at 11 o'clock IST, 11 p.m. IST. At this particular time, since the mid server will try to read the information of the virtual machine and perform the discovery, the network bandwidth go to the peak, and there might be an event that will be generated every day at 11 o'clock to the ServiceNow event. I mean, we are receiving the events to the ServiceNow Event Management module. So these are, if the AI operations is enabled, or the operational intelligence is being enabled, so it will see the trend of the event for the particular configuration item and the metric that is being received every day at the particular point of time. It will try to understand, okay, so the tomorrow we might receive the same anomaly, so it will automatically create an incident, and it will assign it to the appropriate team, so that the team can be understand, okay, why exactly this has been happening at the same point of time. Either we can change the time of the schedule, or we can add up more resources for that particular configuration item, so that this issue will never occur again. So what are the benefits that we get out of the AI operations? So we can eliminate silo of the tools, and we can understand the impact of the particular application. If any changes that has been happened recently because of the trend of events is being raised more on the particular application service. We can predict and resolve 35% of more incidents before they happen itself, and we can minimize the vulnerability risk of this, and we can prevent impact to the end users, and we can reduce a lot of noise. 90% of event noise and the alerts itself will not be created if we can have the intelligence that is been in place and prediction that will happen earlier before the event is being generated. How exactly an AI operations will work, where it will collect the metric information from the different tools, either with the kind of example like the logs from this Splunk, or any information from the monitoring tools, or the events that is being received to the ServiceNow, and the cloud-based operating systems, and the metrics if we are maintaining in any other third-party applications. It will apply the information what that we ServiceNow is being received. Will be applied monitoring, machine learning techniques on top of that, and it will create the predictive solutions on and whenever it is required to find and create the anomalies or generate the anomaly detection before an actual anomaly has been created. So this is a simple example of one of the client who has successfully implemented the AI operations. So there are a couple of applications called the Dynatrace and Nagios for the monitoring tools, and App Dynamics for the CRM tools, which generated events, and it will send those events to the ServiceNow Health, and this ServiceNow Health, where it's involved our ITOM modules, and these events will be strongly coupled with our configuration items which are available in our CMDB. And it generates the ITSM tickets, and these ITSM tickets can be actually work with our L2 and L3 teams which were involved. So we will take a quick explanation, or we will check what exactly the event looks like and how it will be converted into the alert. And I will actually show you by creating one new event, and I'll explain or show you how it will be created an alert and how to create an incident on top of this. So in this session, we will talk about the event, how the event management works. In our further sessions, we will go more deeper dive with a lot of information on the event that will be picked up and put it in our ServiceNow instance, and we will apply the machine learning techniques, and we will show how an operational intelligence work, as well as how can we more use the other modules like the discovery and service mapping, and bind together with the ServiceNow event management to get us more service reliability or availability. So this is the ServiceNow instance that is being event management enabled. So we can navigate to the module called event management. I am the administrator, so I could be able to see all the modules that were available on the event management. We will further discuss more about how an event roles, what and all event roles that is being available, even if it is an event management administrator, event management user, or integration user, and individual roles and responsibilities. We will talk on our further sessions. So in this event management module, there are we are so far we discussed about the events. So this is the events, how exactly they look like. So as of now, we don't have any events which were created on today. If we can see, there are only two events which are self-monitoring. Okay, so one more uh, usage or one more benefit that we get out of the event management was we can self-monitor our ServiceNow instance itself. Like, let's take an example that there is a custom application that we have created and we are running the scheduled jobs every day. And what if the scheduled job running, that what we are running was getting failed each and every day, and we are not having any notification that is being created. So we can monitor our tables or our instance itself using the self-monitoring techniques, or we can create our own custom resources about our self-monitoring, and we can manage our ServiceNow health itself directly over this. So I'll quickly open one event that is been self-event monitoring is been created. If we could see, this is the source. And what was the metric was mid-server threshold alerts. That means there is a mid-server connectivity issue that we are facing. And this was the metric where there is a mid-server threshold alerts has been a mid-server user connectivity was not available. And this metric is can be defined manually, or we can change these metrics, or we can create our own metrics. And if we could see, the alert that is being created on top of this event was this 10047. And if we can see actual check processing of the event, what exactly has been happened, there is an out of the box rule which was automatically to create an alert out of this particular event management, such that there are no specific rules that is being run, since it is an out of the box feature, by default feature that is been generated the alert. I'll just quickly open the alert. So this is the alert that we have that is being generated from the event. And if we could see, every piece of information that we have received will be automatically populated over here, and we can estimate what is the module that will be impacted because of this alert. So in this case, the impacted service itself is the ServiceNow Event Management module, and the severity is minor because it is a user level information, and the mid server is down, and that mid server is not being bounded with any other application service. So it's still a minor one. And if we can see the visibility of that particular service, we can okay, so the service mapping was not yet enabled in this instance, so we could not see that service. But so this is how it will be bound together with the service management applications. And we could see if more events that we are receiving for the same particular configuration item, instead of creating multiple alerts, it add up the events automatically to the same alert, instead of regenerating and creating a chaos of multiple events. Every event will have their own alert. So instead of that, we could have defined that, okay, there is been event that has been receiving every 16 hours, or every 2 hours, or every 3 hours on the same, where we can create an incident on top of it. I'm not going to generate an incident now, where I will create our own alert, our own event, and then I will show the quick incident creation from that. So this is the event that I'm going to generate in our ServiceNow instance. Let's go once again and check what are the events that has been there in our ServiceNow event table. So for today only, there are 2. Let's think that this is one of the monitoring tool that is being integrated with the ServiceNow, and I'm generating the event manually. So there is a configuration item called IP switch, and on top of that IP switch, let's think that there is it is not responding and not generating any multiple events, and been generating multiple events, and it is not providing services to the servers, or no network flow is being happening through this network device. So let's hit this particular event to the ServiceNow, and we can actually see whether we have received this event or not. Let's come here and reload this particular event table, and we could see that there is one event that is being received over here, and it is on the state of ready. And as I said, there is an out-of-the-box rule that is been already applied on the back end. We can still stop that rule, like whenever we are receiving any event related to this metric, we can still stop creating the alert. So at the initial stage, if an event is being created, it will be in the state of ready, and as an out-of-the-box rules run in the back end. If we reload, it actually gets processed and alert is being generated. So this is the alert that is being generated from that particular event that we have raised so just now. And let me quickly acknowledge this particular alert so that our monitoring team still understand that the event, the alert that we have received was acknowledged properly, which means if you can see that there is an acknowledged button checked up, and we can create our quick responses where we can send out an emails to our clients that there is the alert is being raised, and we can create our remediation rules over here. If you could see this is the remediation rule that is being generated. I mean, that is been available. We can create the incident manually, or we can directly click on the quick incident. If we click on the quick incident, the task will be generated, and this piece of information will be populated. So if we could see the incident that is being generated on top of the alert, where the short description and the description were properly automatically mapped, and we can define our own rules to estimate the impact and urgency based upon that priority will be set, and the warning based upon the severity of the alert, we can still change this impact or urgency, and we can automatically assign this particular incident to the assignment group based upon the configuration item that we are receiving the alert on. And if we go down and check the related list, we can see that there is an alert that is been mapped to this particular incident. And if we come back and see the incident, the task number is being populated. Now, let's see what will happen if that event is being received and the alert is being created. Let's think that then the device was responding properly, and the monitoring tool may send a clear event for us, and what will happen to the existing alert that we have received. If we could see, the state of the alert is still open, because we haven't received any clear event. And let's think that now we are receiving the clear event, and IP switch was up and running, and it is responding success. And let's send this particular event. If we keenly observe, the overall event count should get increased, and the state of that particular alert needs to be changed to the closed state. If we could see, this is what happened automatically. And there are a couple of knowledge articles that has been populated because of that problem. And if we could see, the event was automatically bounded to this particular alert as an out-of-the-box feature, and we can see that incident is also automatically resolved. So here we have reduced a lot of manual intervention if an alert that need not to be taken action manually. So this is the level of powerful event management tool that we are talking about, and this is the demo that we had with a very high level overview about how can we utilize the event management without any customization for any customer that we are going to implement for. And I'll just take a quick overview about how exactly we approach our clients, or we provide our support to our clients on the implementation process. So in our current clients, we does provide the workshops first, and we will try to show the power and the features and the benefits of the event management by integrating with the monitoring tools like SCOM or SolarWinds or CloudWatch. And after integrate, we collect and analyze the events first, and based upon that, we will give the recommendations of the event rules, and we will take the inputs from the client of what event rules that he was keenly looking for. We adjust the out of the box existing rules or the correlation rules that we are having in the ServiceNow event management, and we create our own rules, and we refine and we show actual event management dashboard that we are gonna use, that we are gonna see for the scope of event management impact that's been happened. So this is the out of the box event management dashboard, but we will create these dashboards based upon the client's KPIs that he was looking for. So this is it on the event management instance and the session. And now I'll be opening the floor for the Q&A. Any questions? They can raise their hand or they can send us the information in the chat. Okay, so I'll be addressing the Tanvik 1B's question. If we have discovery, how event management will help us? Tanvik, I did already mention in our entire session where the discovery will integrate with the third-party applications like SCCM or perform the discovery to bring the CI information to the ServiceNow CMDB, where on top of that, we can use these CI's information on other tools. But coming to the event management, this event management will work a bit differently. Like what exactly will happen on top of that configuration item, or the services that are running on the configuration item was been down, so the events will be generated for that particular configuration item. In our example, I have showed the IP switch. So the IP switch itself is a configuration item that is being discovered and populated in our ServiceNow CMDB. On top of that, the monitoring tool raised an event, and on the event, okay, I can quickly show you. So on the event, it mentioned that there is a node for which node this particular event belongs to. So this node will be generated as an alert as a configuration item. And if we actually open the configuration item, and if we could see, there is a lot of information like what is the IP switch, what is the IP switch IP address, or more details about that particular switch, and what and all services that are running on that particular IP switch. If we see what the cluster nodes, what are the storage switches that are attached, what are routers that are attached, so we can understand the impact if we have any alerts on top of this particular configuration item. So in this place, the event will be converted to the alert, and that alert will be bound to the configuration item, and the remediation also can be taken care from the event management itself. Hope you have got an explanation for your question. I'll move to the Amol Kotwal. So ServiceNow relies on the ServiceNow monitoring system to feed alerts or data. It cannot be do event management without them. Very good question, Amol. Thanks for asking this, and thanks for bringing this question here. For now, ServiceNow was, depending on the event management tools like Nagios, SCOM, or SolarWinds, because the monitoring tools are bound to have the monitoring the individual CI of our infrastructure, and they are having their own intelligence of how to monitor without agent and few with agent. But ServiceNow was bringing down a new feature with which we can have the ServiceNow itself can do the monitoring, but it is still not yet been deployed for the most of the clients, which is the agent-based ServiceNow implementation that we are having. So the discovery also can be happened without the mid server go ahead and performing the discovery. Instead, the individual CI itself can send the information without running the schedule job every day. And along with the CI information, the agents can send the monitoring information as well. But that piece of POCs that are still working by the ServiceNow in the backend, and it may be released soon in our further maybe versions after Rome. Is the Postman the way to practice the EMIs in PDS? Yes, absolutely. We can use the Postman to create an event into the ServiceNow. Or if you are having a good exposure of infrastructure, you can still use the SNMP traps that can be up and running. And these SNMP tracks, very lightweight SNMP traps can be created. and you can create a mid server to listen those SNMP traps. Those can be converted into the events. I'm experiencing through the nodes and CAs are different based on some common string, creating secondary and text grouping alert. Ananyashri, I'm really sorry. I did not get your question. Can you please be specific? I'm experiencing though the nodes and CAs are different based on some common string, creating secondary and text grouping alert. I'll just try to address this, but I'm not sure whether I'm approaching the right context or not. So there might be the node names might be the different for the same configuration item. Let's take an example that in our case, the node name. Okay, so in our case, the node name was representing the actual CI name. Sometimes the node names might be the node what we are receiving the event might be the IP address of a configuration item or the FQDN of a configuration item. We can still convert that event node into the configuration alert configuration item based upon the FQDN, the backend rules, that identification rules that have been already defined. So that can be help us on that. Okay, so the memory issue is being raised for the same configuration item, then yes, multiple events will be correlated into the single alert. And if there is a different issues that is being created for the same configuration item or the same node name, like a memory issue or the disk space issue or the service is down for the configuration item, that can be grouped automatically using the alert correlation rules. Yes, event management can be utilized for the security operations as well, but it depends upon the requirement that you are looking for. Like the security operations will be creating the security incidents, and based upon that, it will send the responses. And there are a lot of vulnerabilities that we can bring down through the Rapid7 integrations to the ServiceNow. And whenever a vulnerability that is being detected by the Rapid7, we can pitch in our monitoring tools to understand if there is a vulnerability. We can raise an event parallelly, but the whole process that we are defining with the SecOps is a bit different. But we can always pitch in our event management wherever we can. So Amol asked question where how secure is ServiceNow event management for network devices sitting in customer network? Do we examples where customers are using for traditional setup without compromising security? Absolutely, Amol. See, the event management is running on the ServiceNow, but the information that we are going to receive is using the mid server, and the ServiceNow will never reach out to any of the configuration item directly. By the way, ServiceNow cannot send the information to the mid server also. It is one-way communication that will happen from the mid server. Only the mid server can send the information to the ServiceNow, where if a discovery will happen on a network device, ServiceNow keeps it in the ECC queue that which CI it wants to discover. The mid server will read the ECC queue and it will take the IP address and it will perform the discovery internally. The mid server will be also up and running in our internal customer infrastructure only. It is well SSL secured, and it will use the 256-bit encryption for sending the information to the ServiceNow, and the authentication will happen with the keys, Java keys, key store that is being generated on the mid server. So every time the public key and private key will be properly encrypting the information that it has been sending and putting up into the ECC queue, where ServiceNow ECC queue will be processed further as upcoming, as the information of the configuration item. But coming to the event management, if you want the event management to be directly received the information from the monitoring tools, still you can do it using the web services. If not, we can again create a web listeners on the mid server itself, where the mid server will keep on waiting for an events to be sent from the monitoring tools internally, and that mid server can send the information to the ServiceNow. Again, it was well encrypted. As I mentioned earlier, it is a 256-bit encryption that has been involved over here. So it is completely secured. And there are a lot of resources and documentation that is available in the ServiceNow docs itself about the encryption of the ServiceNow and the interaction between the mid server and ServiceNow. So the role of software asset management is entirely different, where the software asset management will be working for the reconciliation or mapping the existing licenses to the a piece of software information to the configuration items, right? See, the dependency for the event management and software asset management are entirely different. It all depends upon the requirement. We may provide the solutions on this. But coming to the actual typical scenario, these two are completely different modules which serves the different purposes. Okay, thank you so much everyone for your time.